Chapter 21 Auctioning the Accompanied Amethyst Source. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yun still doesn't want to believe that the master of Tiange Pavilion is just a small doucher. If it gets out, people will laugh out loud. After stabilizing her emotions, Yun questioned, Master Li Xiao, are you kidding me? Ha ha. Sure enough, the other party didn't believe that he was only a doucher in his realm. Not only could he control the Dou Zong strongmen, but he could also gain Qinglian's heart fire. If she was an ordinary person, she could marry Li Xiao. Seeing that Yun was so unwilling to believe it, Li Xiao just took a sip of hot tea, but all of this was within Li Xiao's expectation. Since the other party didn't believe it, there was no need for Li Xiao to continue explaining. Besides, even if it was a doucher, within the scope of Tiange Pavilion, even a Dou Di strongman couldn't hurt him at all. What's the problem with being powerful? Yun was surprised. Seeing that the master of the Tiange Pavilion was so calm and breezy, she couldn't help but feel a little hesitant. Now there are two explanations. First, the master of Tiange Pavilion is deceiving her. Li Xiao's strength is at least above that of Dou Zong, and even said that he has reached the legendary level of Dou Zun. Either he came from a direct descendant of a big family in Zhongzhou, and that would make sense. The background of Tiange Pavilion is so strong, but why did they come to buy an auction house within the scope of the small Jiama Empire? Li Xiao shrugged and said, Sect Master Yun, you don't need to worry about my identity. You just need to prepare for the next auction. Today's auction items will shock the four great empires. Hearing this, Yun's eyes lit up. In this way, the items auctioned by Tiange Pavilion are either rich or expensive. I just don't know if the gold coins I carry are enough. Thank you, Pavilion Master Li Xiao, for reminding me. Yun knows. Ah. The hour has come. The gate of Tiange Pavilion opened accordingly. The dense crowd scrambled to enter the Tiange Pavilion auction. Each found their own position, and prepared for the next auction, and the Douwang powerhouse naturally also came to the box on the second floor. For them, this group of ants is not qualified to sit on an equal footing with the Douwang powerhouse. King Furukawa has been looking for the materials to devour the different fires since the last time he auctioned the Qinglian Earth Heart Fire, but because the three different treasures needed to swallow the different fires are extremely precious, he only got them together in 1 year. 3 things must be prepared to devour the strange fire, and one is more difficult than the other. They are the 5th order elixir, blood lotus pill, ice spirit cold spring, and nailing, which can only appear in high-level nashi. Everything is priceless. As for King Furu, he only collected the 5th grade elixir blood lotus pill so far, and the remaining 2 have not been found so far. He came to the Tiange Pavilion auction house today and wanted to take this opportunity to make some money. Nothing gave King Furukawa the most headache than Na Ling. Na Ling is quite rare, and it has something to do with Na Ring, but this kind of nailing that it is only possible to find it in the central position of the highest level nashi, and the quantity is extremely rare, unless the pharmacists of the Dou Zun might store some. Arriving at the box on the second floor, King Furukawa looked back and forth, wanting to see where Sect Master Yun had gone. However, Yun had separated from Li Xiao at this time. As the boss behind the scenes, she naturally sat on the 3rd floor to watch the auction below her. Not long after, the powerhouses were all ready and wanted to see what the next auction items would be. Elder Yunling came to Yun's side, cupped his hands and said, Sect Master, have you seen the master of this place? Yeah. Yun nodded slightly, then stared at the elder Yunling next to him, and reminded, the identity of Tiange Pavilion is really hard to fathom. Yunling, I know your temper. Without my permission, don't speak rudely, so as not to cause trouble. Great Elder Yunling nodded in agreement. Yes, Lord Sovereign. A crisp chime sounded slowly in the venue. Hearing the chime, everyone stopped what they were doing and stared intently at the auction platform in front of them, because they all knew that this was the sound of the auction officially starting. Light and shadow flicker. As the auctioneer of Tiange Pavilion, Linglong stood out in the eyes of everyone. As an annual auction conference, I think there is no doubt that every time we host the Tiange Pavilion, we will definitely not disappoint you. Linglong clapped her hands lightly, and said loudly, I announce that the Tiange Pavilion auction will start now. As an experienced auctioneer, she clearly knows what the people below want to see and what they don't want to see. The most important thing is to throw away the nonsense and start the auction directly. In a corner of the first floor, a doge in a black robe looked back and forth at the strong men around him, thinking to himself, "Teacher, how many Dou Huang strong are there?" That the ring flashed a subtle light. "There are at least 10 Dou Huangs, and I also feel that there are 2 strong people in the Dou Zone realm. The Tiange Pavilion can block all investigations, otherwise I would not be able to answer your question." Xiao Yan was horrified. "The Douzong powerhouse, isn't that stronger than the Dou Huang?" A year ago, Xiao Yan was hunted down by Muli of the wolf-headed mercenary group and entered the Warcraft Mountains. He thought he would take this opportunity to practice his skills with this group of people, but he didn't expect that everyone in the wolf-headed mercenary group would be raided overnight. "Cut, what kind of strength can this be done? Everyone be quiet." Linglong knocked on the golden hammer and said softly, "Let us invite the first lot, which can only be produced by the Amethyst-winged Lion King, accompanied by Amethyst source." That the 2 jade bottles were revealed in front of everyone's eyes. When the bottle cork was opened, a strong fire attribute breath was released instantly. It's really the companion Amethyst source. The pupils of several alchemists who came to the Tiange Pavilion auction suddenly shrank, and their faces showed endless excitement and greed. "Senior Linglong, although I am also a treasure, the accompanying amethyst source is only effective for those who practice fire attribute exercises. This limits its value. Everyone knows that the accompanying amethyst source is as valuable as the amethyst-winged Lion King, and looking at the entire Douchi continent, the accompanying amethyst source is as precious as an earth-level exercise, but you should also know that the accompanying amethyst source is very important for practicing fire attribute skills. How powerful the method is, many alchemists are willing to lose their fortunes in order to obtain it, and you should know best how much it is worth." Ao Toa, a 4th-grade alchemist from Black Rock City, stroked his mustache, and said with a smile, "What this senior Linglong said is true. If you old things, if you can't afford it, then don't join in the fun here. How much is the value of Jingyuan? It is impossible for you not to know in your heart. If you want to lower the price, you have no shame." Seeing that his plan was debunked by Otto, the corner of the previous 4th-rank alchemist's mouth twitched, and he stared at this chubby old thing with a ferocious face, really meddling in his own business. End of this chapter. Chapter 22 Flying Fighting Technique, Cloud Dragon Wing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The auction has officially started. The alchemists could not wait to increase the price. The associated amethyst source can be said to be a rare natural treasure, which can play a very important role in their alchemy. Pil King Furukawa shrugged his shoulders, and said sadly, "Fortunately, I brought enough gold coins this time. I didn't expect the first lot to be the accompanying amethyst source that can only be produced by the amethyst-winged Lion King. The starting price of each bottle is 100 million gold coins, and the price increase is no less than, please don't blame me. 120 million. The alchemist of the Izumo Empire was the first to raise the price. Everyone in the world knows that the money in the hands of pharmacists can be said to be incomparably rich. They can auction off a random pill for a sky-high price, and they can still take out a mere 100 million yuan. Moreover, the emperor of the Izumo Empire, Izukubari, naturally couldn't give up these bottles of accompanying amethyst sources to other empires. If the alchemists of their empires couldn't bear it, the empire would help them until they were completely taken down. However, the accompanying amethyst source is still very attractive to those who practice fire attribute exercises. It's not just the pharmacists who want it, they want it too. 130 million. 150 million gold coins. That the auction was extremely fierce, and the price also went up. Not long after, it reached the point of 200 million gold coins. Pil King Furukawa also joined this auction. He was unwilling to miss such a good opportunity. The accompanying purple crystal source is rare, it would be a pity if he missed it. 230. Under Furukawa's order, Yan Shi beside him understood, took a step forward, and raised the price loudly. As expected of Gu He, the Pil King of the Jia Ma Empire, he is generous. 230 million, it's nearly 500 million gold coins. People from other forces whispered and complained that Furukawa has a big head, and the associated amethyst source is so precious, but it is not a clear move to consume a lot of gold coins to come up. Besides, there will be other auction items in the future. If you spend all the money, it may be too late to regret it. Zax, the fifth-rank pharmacist of the Izumo Empire, frowned and said, "Damn Furukawa. I really thought I was afraid of you." As a fifth-rank pharmacist, he has a high status, second only to the Emperor's Skylark. What's more, with the financial support of the Empire, these bottles of accompanying amethyst source are bound to be won. 300 million gold coins. Hearing the movement, Dan Wang Furukawa clenched his fists angrily. He is an old guy from the Izumo Empire again. The Skylark's face moved slightly, and he blamed, "Master Zax, the price of the 2 bottles of amethyst source has exceeded the forecast range. If the price increases, I'm afraid something will happen." Zax shrugged and said with a ghostly smile, "Don't worry, Your Majesty, if Pil King Furukawa still wants to increase the price, then, let him give him the accompanying amethyst source, so that the next auction will be held. Get ahead of them." "Oh." Hearing Master Zax's reminder, Izukobori immediately gave a thumbs up. As expected of the president of the Izumo Empire Alchemist Association, he is really smart. In this way, the other party's vitality must be severely injured, which will make a huge contribution to the next auction. Although Dan Wang Furukawa also felt angry because of the interference of the Izumo Empire, he was not a fool. He had already seen Zax's grim smile through the glass, which was obviously a trap for himself. "Lao He, do you want to increase the price? Since Zax likes it so much, how can I take it away?" To everyone's surprise, the private room on the second floor did not speak again. Dan Wang Furukawa retracted his chair, and a faint sarcasm appeared on his dull face. "Don't treat everyone as a fool." Sure enough, after seeing that the other party didn't raise the price, Zax's mouth twitched, with a grim expression on his face. Damn Furukawa, he wasn't fooled. Izuku's face wasn't too good looking, but he didn't expect to be reversed by the other party. In desperation, the 2 bottles of accompanying amethyst source finally became the property of the Izumo Empire at a price of 300 million gold coins per bottle. Jia Xingtian and the others laughed. What a stupid ass. Although the associated amethyst source is very precious, but they spent 600 million gold coins to buy it, and their heads are really big. There are only a few drops of essence in the 2 bottles. If the alchemy process fails, the 600 million gold coins will be for nothing. Congratulations to the Izumo Alchemist Association for winning the companion amethyst source. Let's invite the second lot. Linglong clapped her hands with a smile on her face, and the second treasure rose slowly. Everyone's eyes shifted from the Izumo Empire Dohuang powerhouse to the crystal platform in front of them. On the crystal stage, Linglong picked up a scroll made of ancient jade, and smiled slightly at everyone present. "Everyone, I am afraid that few people have seen the things that will be auctioned next. This is also a fighting skill, but because the production method has been lost, it is extremely rare now." When they saw this sentence, everyone already had an answer in their hearts. Apart from that thing, they couldn't imagine any other fighting skills that had been lost. Flying fighting skill, Cloud Dragon Wing. As soon as the voice fell, the scroll was opened. Linglong looked coldly and said, "This thing is an extremely rare flying fighting skill. It can help the strong who have not broken through the realm of fighting kings to succeed, grow wings, and soar between the sky and the earth. Similar to our Do Chi transformation wing." After all, Linglong opened the scroll in front of everyone. It was a small dragon wing, covered with dense runes, which made people feel a sense of mystery. Not only that, but the gas of dragon-like monsters exudes from the scroll, which makes people tremble with fear. Some people in the auction hall became quiet, and some people who didn't know much about goods frowned slightly. Although they had heard of flying fighting skills, they were only people below the fighting king. The weakest ones on the field are all the strong fighting spirits, and obviously they have no interest in this so-called Yunlongi. However, the royal family and other Dohuang powerhouses are also interested. Although they can no longer use this so-called flying fighting skill, as long as they hand over this flying fighting skill to their heirs, then they can be like the Dohuang powerhouse. Soar into the sky. This is a rare treasure. Besides, flying fighting skills have indeed been lost. It is not so easy to find a book of flying fighting skills, and advanced flying fighting skills are even rarer. It seems that the flying fighting skill Yunlongji is second only to the lower level of the earth, and the flying speed is even far surpassed by some fighting kings. This kind of treasure is bound to be obtained. Because of the integrity of this object, the price is set at 200 million gold coins after careful research by our Lord Tiange Pavilion. End of this chapter. Chapter 23 Soul-Fixing Treasure, Deep Sea Blue Heart. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After hearing the price proposed by the auctioneer, people below Dou Huang cast regretful glances. 200 million has exceeded their expectations, and it is not a clear move to compete with so many strong players. Lu Man of Tian Snake Mansion squinted his eyes and said, "Flying fighting skills are extremely useful for fighting kings and below. It just so happens that I know a little girl, maybe she can use it. Elder Qing, let's increase the price." "Yes." The enchanting woman sitting next to Lumen nodded, and raised the number plate on the table, 300 million gold coins. When they heard that the people from the Heavenly Snake Mansion directly increased the price to 300 million gold coins, those who wanted to join in the fun could only give up wisely. They did not have the financial resources to support their qualifications to compete in flying fighting skills. Seeing the people from the Heavenly Snake Mansion make a move, the Misty Cloud sect also increased the price. Yun, the head of the Yunlan sect in the Jia Ma Empire, also wanted to take pictures of Yenran's flying fighting skills, which would be crucial to her future practice. 400 gold coins. As expected of the Misty Cloud sect, the shot is generous, but well, we want the flying fighting skill Yunlongji from the Heavenly Snake Mansion. Lu Man smiled. As the Dou Huang powerhouse in the Black Horn region, it is naturally impossible to give up at this point, or if it spreads in the future, it will not be ridiculed by those guys. 450 gold coins. Now only people from the Misty Cloud sect and the Heavenly Snake Mansion are left to bid for the auction. As the Grand Elder of the Misty Yun sect, Yunling keeps dissuading the suzerain from thinking twice before acting. Millions of gold coins are really unnecessary. Besides, the young sovereign will definitely break through to the realm of fighting king in the future, and taking pictures of flying fighting skills is simply tasteless. But Yun didn't think so. Yan Rant's 3-year contract was about to begin. How could she just ignore it as a teacher? She would naturally not miss anything that could improve her strength. Great Elder Yunling let out a deep breath of heat. "Sect Master, don't be arrogant. We have to auction the next lot." "Presumptuous." Yun shouted angrily, "Don't forget, I am the suzerain of the Misty Cloud sect." Hearing this, Great Elder Yunling sighed helplessly. He did not dare to disobey the suzerain's order, so he could only sit back on the chair, but he was still a little unwilling in his heart. The few elders beside them also cast distressed gazes. Their assets of the Misty Cloud sect are not comparable to those guys from the Black Horn region. Yun said, "No matter how much the other party bids, our Misty Cloud sect will increase the price." The black-robed man sitting in the lobby on the first floor looked solemn, staring fiercely at the woman in the box on the second floor, and clenched his fists tightly. "Xiao Yan, don't act recklessly. Isn't it just a book of flying fighting skills? Don't you have it too?" "Teacher, I'm not reconciled." Xiao Yan said angrily, "Why is it that Nalan Yanran was born with flying fighting skills, and I have been tortured so much?" Yao Chen's voice slowly rang in Xiao Yan's ears. "There is no fairness in this world. Some people are tall while others are short. Some have high positions and some have low births. Fairness is just a joke." Hearing the teacher's reminder, Xiao Yan gave a bitter smile. Sure enough, his background was already far behind this group of heaven's favored children. However, Xiao Yan believed that he would definitely make Nalan Yanran pay the corresponding price. 30 years in Hedong, 30 years in Heshi, don't bully the young and poor. Lu Man from the Heavenly Snake Mansion frowned and said, "Sect Master Yun, are you planning to compete with our Heavenly Snake Mansion to the end?" "Your Excellency, flying fighting skills are very useful to my disciples. If you are willing to give them up to me, I, Yun, owe you a favor." Hear this, the elder lumen of the Heavenly Snake Mansion looked a little ugly. Although she was not afraid of the financial strength of the Misty Cloud sect, It was not clear that the other party had been chasing after her. It's better to sell her a favor. If she needs it in the future, she can invite Sect Master Yun. Dou Huang's favor is indeed worth the price. After thinking about it for a while, Elder Lumen looked at the position of Misty Cloud Sect, smiled brightly and said, if that's the case, then the flying fighting skills will be given to Sect Master Yun. Thank you, Your Excellency. Gentleman Yun cupped her hands. 400 gold coins once. 400 gold coins twice. 400 million gold coins 3 times, deal. Let us congratulate Yun, the patriarch of the Yunlan sect in room 400, for winning the flying fighting skill Yunlanji with, million gold coins. Seeing that no one raised the price, Linglong knocked down the golden hammer without hesitation. The great elder Yunling sighed. 400 million gold coins were used to shoot the flying fighting skills. The suzerain is really confused. Li Xiao, who was drinking tea on the 3rd floor, smiled slightly, which is interesting. This auction has already made everyone admire. They did not expect that the foundation of Tiange Pavilion is so strong. Whether it is the accompanying amethyst source or the current high-level flying fighting skills, they are all treasures that cannot be found. They don't use it themselves, but put it up for auction, which is really a waste of money. In fact, there is a reason why Li Xiao didn't practice flying fighting skills by himself. The system gave a reminder that all items purchased in the system need to be auctioned, and the host cannot use them, except for rewards. Li Xiao was still complaining about the unfairness of the system, but the system told him that there is a chance of sky-level flying fighting skills in the future rewards, and this Yunlanji is only second to the earth-level elementary fighting skills. It's better to take it out for auction, to get more gold coins. The following auctions were still going on, and they were all high-quality goods. There were exclamations from time to time. As one treasure after another appeared, the atmosphere became more and more enthusiastic. The next auction is the treasure of the ocean, the deep-sea blue heart. Hearing these 4 words, everyone in the field cast puzzled eyes. It's not clear what it is. They've never heard of it. However, the medicine dust in Xiao Yan's ring seemed extremely excited. It turned out to be really deep-sea blue heart. Teacher, what is deep-sea blue heart? Xiao Yan lowered his head and asked in puzzlement. Before Yao Chen could explain, the auctioneer Linglong introduced deep-sea blue heart. You may not have much experience with deep-sea blue heart, but this item is the treasure of the deep-sea region. According to legend, deep-sea blue heart is a high level after the death of the monster. The treasure formed by the magic core is also the holy product of fixing the soul, which is of great help in repairing the soul and improving the realm. After our investigation, the original place of the deep-sea blue heart was an 8th-order monster, derived from the magic core of the deep-sea demon king. Strangled, and finally all died. As soon as these words came out, the audience was in an uproar. I didn't expect this blue stone to have such a history. What is the concept of a semi-holy strong man? That is the strong man at the top of the Dochi continent pyramid. With a wave of his sleeve, the world can collapse. Here in the hands of the deep-sea demon king. End of this chapter. Chapter 24 Medicine Emperor Han Feng. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yao Chen was so excited that he couldn't speak. Deep-sea Lanxin had heard it mentioned by the strong people in his clan when he became a Dozun. It was a rare soul treasure. If he could get it, at least he could let others. The soul returns to its prime, no matter how bad it is, it can recover half of it. Xiao Yan clenched his fists tightly. Teacher, we must take down this deep-sea blue heart, it will be of great help to your recovery. Okay, brat, no matter how much you pay, you must go all out. Yao Chen knew in his heart that relying on Xiao Yan's property is not enough to fight against this group of strong men, but with himself, things will happen. Reverse, just as the auction was about to start, several figures suddenly flew in the distance, each of them exuding a terrifying aura. It can be seen from the fighting spirit and the speed that these people are all in the realm of fighting emperors, and they are not low. Feel the comer. Several monsters outside Tiange Pavilion cast condensed gazes one after another, and the amethyst-winged Lion King even flew up, looking at the few people in front of him vigilantly. Sorry, I'm late. It was a man who spoke, who looked only about 30, and his slightly thin lips were tightly pressed together. giving off a cold and stern taste, but it was also like this that made him a little more charming. A head of long black hair hangs down to the shoulders, and above the body, it seems that there is a strange medicinal fragrance all the time, which makes people feel close to him. On the chest of the cyan pharmacist's robe was painted a quaint medicine cauldron badge, with 6 golden patterns on the medicine cauldron, symbolizing his rank as a 6th-grade pharmacist. On the back of the robe, there is an extremely finely crafted maple character. The amethyst-winged lion king sniffled, and glanced at the 6 golden lines on the visitor's body. "You turned out to be a 6th-grade pharmacist," Han Feng chuckled and said, "That's right, I didn't expect to see the overlord of the Warcraft mountain range, the amethyst-winged lion king here. It's really amazing." "That's right, the person who came was Han Feng, the medicine king of the Black Horn region. And the few people around him are also Dou Huang strongmen in the Black Horn region." After learning about this, they contacted Medicine Emperor Han Feng non-stop, and traveled thousands of miles with him to Tiange Pavilion in the Warcraft Mountains. "I would like to take this opportunity to auction some treasures and so on." They are Fan Lao, the suzerain of the Blood Sect, Yuan Yi, the master of the 8 Fan Sect, Ban Lao, the master of the Dian Sect, Old Man Yin Gu, the suzerain of the Tianyin Sect, Tai Wu, the lord of the Wild Lion Clan, Su Mei, the master of the Rakshasa Sect, and Di Yen. Sovereign Yen. Each of them is a Douhuang powerhouse, and if they can dispatch so many Douhuangs at once, they must not be too weak. "I wonder if we can enter the Dengtian Pavilion auction." Before coming here, Han Feng had already received information about the Heavenly Pavilion, and the amethyst-winged Lion King was the divine beast protecting the pavilion. Few people would believe it, seeing such a luxurious and magnificent Dengtian Pavilion. Han Feng couldn't help but praise, "I didn't expect there to be such a wonderful building in this world, it's really impressive." The amethyst-winged Lion King turned his head to look at the location of the pavilion master, and only let a few people in with Li Xiao's permission. When they entered the Dengtian Pavilion, everyone gave a horrified look, especially the group of Dou Wang Dou Ling, who screamed uncontrollably. It turned out to be Han Feng, the medicine emperor of the Black Horn region. He's also here. Not only that, there is also the suzerain of the Blood Sect, and the people from the 8 sects are also here. My God, it's so scary. Screams continue to ring out in the arena. The Douhuang experts from the 4 great empires all frowned. They remembered that the Dengtian Pavilion didn't seem to invite the Douhuang experts from the Heijiao area, but they didn't expect them to come without invitation. Han Feng politely cupped his hands towards the auctioneer Ling Long. Han Feng, the medicine emperor in the lower black corner, met Miss Ling Long. Ling Long said with a blank face, "There is no need to be too polite, since the emperor of medicine is here in person. Please go ahead." "Thank you." Han Feng looked around back and forth. When he saw the black-robed man sitting in the farthest corner, he couldn't help showing a touch of surprise on his face. He could feel a special energy from him, and it feels very familiar. However, he didn't think too much, and led by Niu Meng to a certain box on the 2nd floor. "It's indeed a good place. I didn't expect Dengtian Pavilion to be built in the Warcraft Mountains. It would be even more surprising if it was in the Black Horn region or the mainland." Yuan Yi, the master of the 8 gates, curled his lips. He wanted to see how powerful the Dengtian Pavilion was, which could attract so many Douhuang experts at once. There was a small episode just now, so let's continue the auction. Everyone must have heard that this item is precious. Then, there is no reserve price, please auction it yourself. Seeing this, Han Feng raised the price directly and said, 500 million gold coins. As soon as this remark came out, everyone cast their eyes in horror, and it was only 500 million gold coins, which could not be a monopoly. The master of the 8 gates asked, "Emperor Yao, could it be that you are also interested in this stone?" Medicine Emperor Han Feng smiled and said, "This is not a broken stone, but the treasure of the deep sea blue heart. As the most famous treasure in the Duki continent, it can be said to be a priceless treasure, and it may not be possible to encounter it in thousands of years." Hear this, other Douhuangs were also interested. They didn't expect such treasures to exist in the world. However, this item was only for souls and alchemists, so the Dehuangs in the arena didn't raise their prices. 5 6th-grade pills. At this moment, Xiao Yan in the lobby on the first floor couldn't sit still anymore. He couldn't lower Shanghai Lan Xian to a master killer, otherwise he would be ashamed of his teacher's training. Han Feng turned his head to look at the black-robed man below him. He wanted to use his spiritual power to investigate, but only then found that spiritual power was not allowed to detect other people's appearance inside Tiange Pavilion. This made Han Feng quite strange. It was a bit too strange for a boy like him to be able to produce a 6th-grade elixir. Of course, this is not Xiao Yan's, but the elixir collected by his teacher Yao Chen even said that he is reluctant to use it. Now in order to restore the soul power, he has to be forced to use it as gold coins. Ling Long gave Niu Meng a look, began to appraise on the spot, and finally concluded that the 5 6th-grade pills were worth 600 million gold coins. The amount of 600 million gold coins made Xiao Yan look a little ugly. If it was auctioned at least tens of millions of gold coins are needed, but I didn't expect it to be only a few million. And Tiange Pavilion is too dark. It's not that Tiange Pavilion is black, but that it is worth this price, and it can't be exchanged for him at the auction price. Han Feng smiled. Little brother is really rich and powerful, and he can produce a 6th-grade elixir. I really doubt where you got it from. Well, don't bother the medicine emperor, this is my business. The new book will be recommended tomorrow. Please collect it, ask for follow-up reading, and ask for tickets. Starting from tomorrow, there will be 3 updates, and the promotion of recommendation will always be maintained. End of this chapter. Chapter 25 Ascension to Heaven Pavilion Master, Li Xiao. Favorites, recommendations. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Han Feng sneered in his heart, but he was just a junior, and he was not qualified to rob Deep Sea Blue Heart with him. As the medicine emperor of the Black Horn region, his status is even said to be second only to those of the Dou Zone, and he also knows some friends of the Dou Zone, and the funds in his hands are definitely not comparable to that of Xiao Yan. Boy, just use whatever means you can, or you won't have a chance. Han Feng shrugged, and continued to raise the price. 1,000 million gold coins. This price is already very expensive. Even middle auction house will need to spend several years to collect 1,000 million gold coins, but for this group of powerhouses in the Black Horn region, this is just commonplace. Xiao Yan thought to himself, teacher, what should I do? Hey, we can't be Han Feng's opponents. I still have a few 7th-grade pills on me. If they are exposed, it is very likely that they will kill you. Yao Chen sighed, knowing very clearly that if he took out the 7th-rank pill, he would definitely become the target of attack by everyone in the field. The value is above several million. Xiao Yan has made up his mind that he must not give up Shanghai Lanxin to the medicine emperor Han Feng, otherwise it will be more difficult to avenge the teacher in the future. Yao Lao was also moved by Xiao Yan's determination, so let's fight. As long as he can recover his soul power, then he has a certain strength to deal with any invading enemy. Add 3 more 7th-grade pills. What? After hearing this sentence, even Han Feng couldn't help standing up. You actually have a 7th-grade pill, how is this possible? That not only Han Feng, but even other pharmacists cast dignified gazes. The 7th-rank elixir can only be refined by a 7th-rank pharmacist, and the price is extremely high, and the medicinal materials in it are also among the best. A 6th-rank pharmacist can call Dou Zone brothers and sisters, but a 7th-rank alchemist can make an alliance with a Dou Zun powerhouse. Niu Meng made calculations and finally came to the conclusion that these 3 7th-grade pills are worth, gold coins. The reason why they are so expensive is that 2 of them have high-level magic cores, and they are all capable of improving combat effectiveness. It is normal for pills to be expensive. If it wasn't for bartering, with these 7th-ranked pills, it would be enough to drive the Douhuang powerhouse crazy. The Qinglian Earth Heart Fire auction back then was only worth more than 2,000 million. Could it be possible that the Deep Sea Blue Heart can be auctioned for more than, million now? At this time, Xiao Yan's combined price has reached an astonishing 800 million gold coins. The corner of Han Feng's mouth twitched and said, boy, how could you take out the 7th-grade elixir? Who is your teacher? I said before, this has nothing to do with you, Medicine Emperor. Han Feng thought solemnly, wondering if he should continue to increase the price to get this Deep Sea Blue Heart. After pondering for a long time, Han Feng asked, Miss Linglong, is there any more items for auction? Linglong replied in a low voice, there is one last thing. Hearing that there was one lot left, Han Feng looked at the gold coins he had brought and the group of Dou Huang powerhouses who were staring at him. They were probably waiting for the last lot. Stinky boy, you are cruel. Han Feng snorted coldly. This time, the deep-sea blue heart is only the size of a palm. Although it is priceless, it is worth about 1,000 million gold coins. There is no need to spend 2,000 million gold coins to take pictures of this piece. Deep-sea blue heart, seeing that the other party had stopped raising the price, Xiao Yan could finally let go of his hanging heart, and he slumped on the chair as if he had collapsed. If it weren't for the protection of Tiange Pavilion, I'm afraid I would have been torn to pieces by Han Feng long ago. Linglong rang the auction hammer, indicating that this deep-sea blue heart had officially become Xiao Yan's property. The next last lot is very special, so we will rest for half an hour before continuing the auction. Not only that, Niumang and Linglong also began to watch their surroundings vigilantly. If these Dou Huang wanted to snatch it, then there was no need to keep it. Killing a fighting emperor, there is no such thing as too much effort, and Bing Shuang on the third floor also showed a sneer. At present, she has no idea to expose it to the eyes of others. There is no need to reveal the background of Tiange Pavilion so early. Waiting is a torment, but Li Xiao has a business mind. In order to relieve their fatigue, he specially arranged for his men to bring out iced watermelons and sell them to them. In the outside world, a watermelon is only a few copper coins, but here, it is worth dozens of gold coins. But this group of powerhouses don't care. They have spent hundreds of thousands of gold coins, not bad for these dozens, and the watermelon that Deng Tiang personally planted contains a strange energy, and after eating it, it will transform into fighting spirit. Sweeping their limbs and bones, this watermelon is worth it. Time flies, and half an hour quickly passed. Li Xiao, who was lying sideways on the third floor, stood up slowly, and took out a red ghost mask from his arms. The mask was lifelike and terrifying. Then he put the mask on his face. This mask can not only cover up his aura, but also prevent others from probing. Even Emperor Dou came, and he couldn't see any cultivation. The lights in the lobby on the first floor suddenly dimmed, and under the puzzled eyes of everyone, a ray of white light refracted on the crystal table, and Li Xiao, who was wearing a mask, stood out in front of everyone. Who is this? I haven't seen it. Is it the new auctioneer from Tiange Pavilion? That the voices of doubt around were ups and downs, all guessing Li Xiao's identity, and some people even thought that Tiange Pavilion was looking for someone to procrastinate. Li Xiao waved the robe behind him, cupped his hands towards the crowd and said, everyone, be safe and don't be impatient. I am the owner of the Tiange Pavilion, Li Xiao. I am very happy to auction for you. What? As soon as these words came out, everyone was very surprised. They had never seen the owner of the Tiange Pavilion before, and they were skeptical about his identity. Some even thought that the Tiange Pavilion came from the Zhongzhou continent. Several spiritual powers gathered together to investigate Pavilion Master Li Xiao's origin and strength, but without exception, they were all rebounded by the spiritual power, and their mouths were bloody, and their foundations were damaged. How is this possible? What is his strength? Yuan Yi, the master of the 8 doors, stared wide-eyed. He suffered a backlash, and his fighting spirit is still in disorder. He even said that he felt like he would explode to death. It's scary. I've never felt that there is such a strong man. Could it be that his strength is higher than that of Dou Zong? Han Feng, the medicine emperor, squinted his eyes halfway. He also didn't feel the aura on Li Xiao's body. Disorder, even life-threatening, recommended on the new book. Please collect, ask for follow-up, ask for votes. 3 updates will start today, and the promotion of recommendation will always be maintained. End of this chapter. Chapter 26 8th Grade Elixir, Fuling Qingdan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 26 8th Grade Elixir, Fuling Qingdan. What a shock. Backlash against more than 10 Dou emperors at once. The strength of this person is very likely to be higher than Dou Zong, or even higher. Li Xiao secretly laughed in his heart. This group of people who are not afraid of death really think that they have not taken any safety measures. If they know their state, it will be fine. Yun Yun, the master of Yunlan's sect, said solemnly, it seems that he is lying to me, his strength is above mine. Linglong and Niu Meng met each other's eyes and knelt down on one knee at the same time. See you, Lord Pavilion Master. Not only that, Dou Wang Dou Ling was also frightened by the aura of the two. Even the strong Dou Zong knelt down to pay respects, not to mention their group of young people who didn't even have the realm of Dou Huang. Thinking of this, everyone on the first floor knelt on the ground and shouted respectfully, Greetings, Pavilion Master Li Xiao. The Dou Huang strongmen on the second floor also looked at it, and they didn't follow until Yun Yun, the suzerain of the Yunlan sect, took the lead, but they didn't kneel down like Linglong. As Dou Huang, they were proud and arrogant, and others always knelt down to them. There has never been a precedent for them bowing down to others. How can the majestic Dou Huang powerhouse stay under others for a long time? But in order to save face for the pavilion master of Dengtian Pavilion, they all bent down and saluted. I have met Pavilion Master Li Xiao. Li Xiao nodded with a smile and said, You don't need to be too polite, you are all my guests in the Tian Pavilion, and you are also my friends of Li Xiao. Today's last lot is very important, so the owner of this pavilion will personally host it. After all, Li Xiao raised his right hand slowly, and a dazzling light also lit up, causing everyone to cast horrifying gazes. When the light faded, an exquisite box was revealed in front of everyone's eyes. After seeing the box, everyone began to guess what was inside. Some said it was a pill, while others said it was a treasure. People discussed privately, with high enthusiasm, and they were all looking forward to the appearance of better treasures. The moment Li Xiao opened the box, a strong medicinal fragrance rushed over his face, and everyone who smelled the medicinal fragrance danced like they entered the clouds, extremely comfortable. Some people even broke through the realm on the spot under the irrigation of Danxiang. This is the 8th grade elixir. Whether it was Pill King Furu or other high-ranking pharmacists, they were all stunned. Although they had a high status, they had never seen 8th rank elixir, which was a precious treasure that only 8th rank pharmacists could refine. When everyone heard the words, they were all surprised, and then caused a sensation. This is an 8th grade elixir, which is really rare. Even if the 4 great empires are added together, no one can refine the 8th grade elixir. I am afraid that only the strong in Zhongzhou mainland have this ability. Any 8th grade elixir can be sold for a sky-high price. 8th grade elixir is divided into 2-color to 9-color elixir. You can clearly see that there are 2 colors on this elixir, which means that it is exactly the elixir forged by the 2-color Sky Thunder, not to mention the production process. Moreover, the 8th grade elixir is very special. It already has spirituality, but it does not have spiritual wisdom. However, the 8th rank pharmacist does not just take it for granted. The 8th rank elixir requires the soul of the spiritual realm to refine it. From 1 color to 9 colors, the elixir will automatically turn into various animal-shaped elixir beasts. Medicine Emperor Han Feng frowned and said, I didn't expect that the bottom of the box in Dengtian Pavilion turned out to be an 8th grade elixir. Fuling Qingdan, it's so bold. If it was another force, it would definitely be treasured. Such a treasure should not appear here. What is the identity of Pavilion Master Li Xiao? Could it be that he really came from the Zhongzhou continent? Han Feng guessed in his heart that he didn't understand why Li Xiao could casually take out the 8th grade elixir and the deep sea blue heart. Even if these things were placed on the mainland, they would definitely be top treasures, except for those big families. I am afraid that no one is generous enough to put it up for auction. Yuan Yi, the master of the 8 gates, was crying directly, and finally realized that his auction house was no match for Dengtian Pavilion, too much poor quality, and looking at Li Xiao's casual appearance, it seems that he still looks down on this 8th grade elixir. He. Li Xiao stood with his hands behind his back and said, I think everyone has already seen that this is indeed a 2-color Sky Thunder. Fuling Qingdan. Fuling Qingdan is an 8th grade elixir, and it is said that it can help the degraded Dou Zun to restore their peak strength. That is to say, if the foundation is damaged, as long as you eat it, no matter what the state loss is, it will recover in a short time. It is even of great help to the Dou Zun strongmen. Jia, I didn't expect that today we would be lucky enough to see the 8th grade Fuling Qingdan. He, it's really impressive. Ban Lao, the master of the Dayan sect, stroked his mustache and laughed. Obviously, he is also interested in this elixir. Of course, it's not just him, any power will cast greedy gazes like hungry wolves. The 8th grade elixir is an existence that I have never seen in my life. If I lick it, it may also make my own strength skyrocket. The value it brings can no longer be measured by money. Fighting Zune and strong people are scrambling to call it brothers and sisters, even semi-holy strong ones. The value brought by this elixir is enough to destroy a second-rate sect. The most impatient thing among them is that this Fuling Qingdan uses the magic core of an 8th-level water attribute monster, which is equivalent to the monster of a Dou Zune strongman, which can also be seen from the price. In Douqi continent, there are very few people who can refine 7th-grade pills, and these people are all the generation of Grand Masters, and there are only a handful of 8th-rank pharmacists. The elixirs they refine are often accompanied by earthquakes and the collapse of everything. It is not impossible for a single elixir to destroy the world. Even for some people, this elixir has far exceeded the value brought by the strange fire. The strange fire is useful for alchemists, but for others, it is useless. Yao Lao was also surprised. I didn't expect it to be the 8th grade elixir, Fuling Qingdan. I didn't expect that there would be such a treasure in Tiange Pavilion. Teacher, is this really an 8th grade elixir? But Yao Lao nodded, and said solemnly, that's true, the breath can't be changed, but I didn't expect why Tiange Pavilion would have such a treasure, and the value brought by the 8th grade elixir can no longer be measured by money. I once saw someone auction off 4-color 8th grade pills. His pills were directly exchanged for 2 magic cores of 8th rank monsters, and there were also a lot of precious treasures. Hearing this, Xiao Yan showed surprise. There are so many, then the price of this 2-color one should have shrunk. No matter how you say it, it is just a pill that can restore strength. Recommended on the new book. Please collect, ask for follow-up, ask for votes. 3 updates will start today, and the promotion of recommendation will always be maintained. End of this chapter. Chapter 27 Price Soaring. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yao Lao frowned, and replied solemnly, the 8th grade elixir is of extraordinary value. Although this Poria Coco's green elixir is only a 2-color elixir, it can restore strength, even if it is a Dou Zune. Hearing this, Xiao Yan asked subconsciously, Teacher, is that useful to you? After hesitating for a while, Yao Lao shook his head. This Fuling Qingdan is not very useful to him. The Fuling Qingdan of the 2-color Sky Thunder may be useful for Dou Zune below 5 stars, and his strength at his peak has naturally surpassed this limit, but even if there are more thunderous colors, you have to repair your body yourself. Xiao Yan clenched his fists and swore in his heart that one day he would become an alchemy wizard of this level. Now that everyone has the answer in their hearts, the owner of this pavilion will not continue to talk nonsense. The starting price is 2,000 million gold coins, and the range cannot be less than 100 million gold coins. Of course, you can also exchange things. We adhere to the customer first. The one-of-a-kind attitude will help you exchange your own martial arts or elixir for the same price. As soon as this remark came out, everyone rushed to raise the price first. I'll give you a copy of Xuanquanshu, plus 54th grade pills. I'll give out 10 6th grade pills, plus 10 books of mysterious fighting skills. I am willing to exchange the 6th grade elixir of the same level, and I hope it will come true. As soon as the voice on the stage fell, the bottom was boiling, and the bidding began immediately. Now that there are no gold coins, those are not enough to look at, and they must be exchanged for rare treasures. However, in Li Zhao's view, everything they sell has its own value, and the price can only be increased after it is estimated. Medicine Emperor Han Feng shrugged his shoulders and said, Pavilion Master Li Xiao, I will exchange 10 high-level mysterious level fighting skills and high-level medicine prescriptions. Niu Meng counted Han Feng's things, and the market price was 3,000 million gold coins, which was already counted as the most present in the audience. However, this group of strong men in the Black Horn region will not give up this 8th grade elixir so easily, but how can they miss the opportunity that they don't want? Even if they offend the Medicine Emperor Han Feng, it is enough. The master of the 8 gates, Yuan Yi, is one of the richest fighting emperors in the Hejiao region. His eyes were straightened when he saw the 8th grade Poria Coco's green pill, and he immediately took out 4,000 million gold coins for auction. Brother Yuan Yi bid 4,000 million yuan, is there a higher price? That the surrounding arrogance suddenly decreased a lot. It can be seen that they all resisted the price, even Pil King Furukawa couldn't help scolding. If these old things hadn't come to the Tiange Pavilion auction, this 8th grade Poria Coco's green pill would have been his own. Now the price has reached 4,000 million, which is twice as high as the price I paid for Qinglian Dixinhuo, which is simply unbelievable. Han Feng snapped his tongue, and stared fiercely at Yuan Yi beside him. Master of the 8 doors, what do you mean? Do you mean that you also want to snatch Fuling Qingdan from Han? Yuan Yi smiled and said, the Emperor of Medicine is serious, the auction naturally has the rules of the auction, the highest bidder wins, what's wrong? Besides, this elixir is very valuable, and our 8 sects also like it very much. I wonder if the Medicine Emperor can bear the pain and give up. Han Feng also didn't expect that Yuan Yi, the master of 8 doors, would be so shameless that he would snatch Fuling Qingdan from himself in front of so many people. Isn't this obviously a slap in the face for him? You. Han Feng frowned and gritted his teeth angrily. Yuan Yi, there is no need for us to continue to cooperate after that. What did you say? Yuan Yi's eyes widened. Brother Han, you actually threatened me. Haijiayu is only a 6th grade pharmacist. If he offends him, it is not a clear move for him, but the attraction of the 8th grade Fuling Qingdan is too sweet. People can't accept it. The other fighting emperors also looked at each other, not knowing what to do next. On the one hand was the 8th grade Fuling Qingdan, and on the other was the medicine emperor Han Feng who made alchemy for them. Neither of them could be discarded. Han Feng said loudly, if you can give me this thing, I promise to give you double the things. Hearing this, they all chose to help Medicine Emperor Han Feng. How could they miss such a good opportunity? Besides, Han Feng had already promised them that what he promised would be doubled, which was much better than Fuling Qingdan. They may not be able to get Fuling Qingdan, but the agreement of the Medicine Emperor Han Feng has always been there, and it is still possible to figure out which is more important. Ban Lao, the master of the Dayan sect, laughed. With your words from the Medicine Emperor, we can rest assured. Yuan Yi, do you still want to compete with the Medicine Emperor? This. Yuan Yi, the master of the 8 doors, began to waver in his heart. Yuan Yi, if you are willing to give up, Han will act as if nothing happened, and you will still not refuse what you promised earlier. How about it? Yuan Yi, the master of the 8 gates, saw that the Medicine Emperor Han Feng gave him a step, and he went down the donkey along the slope, and said directly with a smile, He, since the Medicine Emperor said so, why should I refuse? Just now if you offend me, I still hope Hai Han. No one in the field could stop Han Feng anymore, and some people also left resentfully, so there is no need to continue watching. The appearance of Han Feng holding the winning ticket made the other people helpless. Who told him that the other party was a 6th grade pharmacist, and the wealth in his hands could be competed by anyone? The people in the Black Corner region could have robbed it, but under the pressure of the 6th grade pharmacist, they could only resent it. 5,000 gold coins. Just when everyone thought it was over, the strong man sitting silently in box No. On the 2nd floor suddenly spoke. Hearing the other party's price increase, Medicine Emperor Han Feng's face instantly pulled down. He wanted to see which guy with no eyesight dared to provoke a 6th grade pharmacist. Turning his head to look at the No. box, there was a black atmosphere, and he couldn't see a person at all, and he couldn't even feel the breath of the other person. Who are you, and why do you want to snatch my Fuling Qingdan? A voice came from the No. box, Jia. The auction will have auction rules, the highest bidder wins, so why not grab it? You. Han Feng's face was solemn. If he was a strong man in the Black Corner region, he could still use his identity to suppress him, but the origin of the opponent was unknown, and his strength was unknown. How could he threaten him? Your Excellency, I am Han Feng, the King of Medicine in the Black Horn region. If your Excellency is willing to give it to me, just ask for anything you want. Besides, Your Excellency, offending a 6th grade pharmacist is not a clear move. However, the people in the No. box were not only not angry, but laughed loudly. Their voices were extraordinarily eerie, piercing like ghosts. Jia, just a 6th grade pharmacist, do you really think the world is invincible? The idiots of the 8 doors are afraid, so naturally I won't. Yuan Yi's face is darkened. You can taunt if you taunt, why do you bring yourself in, isn't this bullying honest people? Recommended on the new book, please collect, ask for follow-up, ask for votes, 3 updates will start today, and the promotion of recommendation will always be maintained, end of this chapter. Chapter 28. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Medicine Emperor Han Feng was so angry that a sharp look flashed in his eyes. He really wanted to see who the other party was, who dared to talk to him like that. Li Xiao nodded and smiled slightly. He felt this person when he entered Tiange Pavilion, but he ignored it. No matter whether he auctioned it or not, as long as he has money, he can drive to the VIP room on the 2nd floor. At the price just now, add another 3,000 million, that the people in the number 8,000 box sneered, as expected of Han Feng, the medicine king of the Black Corner region. He is extremely generous, but there is nothing in the world that we can't get, million gold coins. This sentence has completely refreshed some Dou Huang and all Dou Wang Dou Ling, and they did not expect that an 8th grade Fuling Qingdan could be sold at such a price, which is unimaginable. Back then, the strange fire didn't have the excitement of such an auction. 9,000 million. At this moment, Han Feng's eyes were already bloodshot, and the flames on his body were also faintly visible, as if he could no longer suppress the raging strange fire. 100 million, that the people in box no, were obviously struggling too. The price had reached the limit, and if it was increased, it would not be worth it. The veins on the forehead of Medicine Emperor Han Feng popped up, and he roared angrily, 100 million. The Emperor of Medicine thinks twice before acting. Ban Lao, the master of the Dian sect, quickly reminded that the price had gone to the Emperor of Medicine's head. If he continued to increase the price without restraint, Han Feng would go bankrupt. Under Ban Lao's reminder, Medicine Emperor Han Feng slowly regained consciousness, only to realize that he had almost made a big mistake. Million gold coins was already beyond his tolerance, and continuing to increase the price would inevitably lead to his own economic loss. Breaking, this is not a clear move. Han Feng exhaled heavily, and said, okay, today's Liangzi has been settled. If you go to the Black Corner region in the future, you will face endless danger. The person in the no, box sneered, Emperor Yao, it's best not to boast before the matter is settled, otherwise the slap in the face will come very quickly. Wait and see. Han Feng threw the embroidered robe angrily, turned and left aggressively. 100 million gold coins once. 100 million gold coins twice. 100 million gold coins 3 times, deal. Let's congratulate the guests in box no, who bought the 8th grade elixir, Fuling Qingdan, for million gold coins. The auction was officially over, and the strong people who came to watch this time also left with unsatisfied feelings. This time it really opened their eyes. They did not expect that the foundation of Tiange Pavilion is so rich that it is difficult to express it in words. Those who succeed in the auction pay their own fees in exchange for what they get. As for whether they can leave the Warcraft Mountains alive, it has nothing to do with Tiange Pavilion. Life or death depends entirely on personal luck. Li Xiao stared at the man in the black cloak, and couldn't help showing a smile on his face. I don't know how he would feel about auctioning that item in the future. After everyone left, Li Xiao began to count the gold coins earned this time. After throwing out the cost this time, there were still, million gold coins left, and only, points were exchanged into system coins. Looking at the fund reserves on the system, he also frowned slightly. 12,000 o'clock. It's nowhere in sight to get together 1 billion gold coins, and it's a question of whether they can get it together within 3 years. Congratulations to the host for the highest auction price in a single day, million gold coins, and the reward strength has increased by 3 levels. Congratulations to the host for auctioning all the items, and a prize card for the strong fighter. Mechanical voices kept coming from Li Xiao's ears, and his fighting spirit also changed accordingly. The original 9-star fighter was directly promoted to a 3-star fighter. In just 2 years, he was promoted from a 3-star fighter. As for the 3-star fighting master, I am afraid that even Xiao Yan does not have the ability to improve at this speed. feeling the special changes in the cyclone, Li Xiao also showed a sense of relaxation. The feeling of upgrading the level is really cool, no wonder why those strong people have been pursuing higher levels. Li Xiao looked at the one in his hand, card, I don't know what kind of strong Dou Zun will explode for him, today's Dengtian Pavilion will inevitably cause a sensation in the entire continent. By then, more powerful people will come to auction. If the strength of Dengtian Pavilion is not improved as soon as possible, there must be no guarantee that they will not do something. Accompanied by a flash of golden light suddenly shining, a sacred and inviolable aura also burst out. Not only that, the surrounding creatures were comforted by this aura, and their growth speed was also improved. Qianshan's jade legs are as white as snow, her facial features are correct, her bearing is extraordinary, and her brows are dotted with cinnabar, which makes people swallow their saliva when they see her. The surrounding aura also diffused towards the surroundings like a fountain, as terrifying as a 9-day saint. The angelic face is almost suffocating. Subordinate Lianxue, I have met the pavilion master. Li Xiao looked at the woman kneeling on the ground, and was quite surprised in his heart. He didn't expect that the 6-star Dou Zun could produce such a deterrent effect. It was simply shocking. That's right, the woman rewarded by the system this time is a 6-star Dou Zun strongman, with golden wings waving behind her, like an angel descending from the earth. Lianxue, a good name. Get up. Li Xiao straightened his clothes, shrugged his shoulders and said, Lianxue, from now on you will be the protector of the Dengtian Pavilion, and anyone who is harmful to the Dengtian Pavilion will be punished and no one will be left behind. Subordinates obey. Lianxue withdrew the sacred aura that she exuded earlier, and walked towards the pavilion master step by step. The room suddenly fell into darkness, the original lights were turned off naturally, and with the black curtains covering them, no one could be seen in the room at all. Lianxue immediately hugged his waist, twirled with him around the bed, and pushed him down on the bed with a bang. The blue silk fell, and the fragrance of a girl came out, a sweet little mouth. Suddenly blocked his mouth, his eyes were wide open, and he couldn't see anything in the dark, only the sound of heavy breathing could be heard. Soon, he forgot everything. Outside the window, it rained violently, thunder and lightning. Inside the house, the spring flowers are blooming, and the love is lingering. It was an unusual night after all. In the morning, the sun is shining brightly. Li Xiao rubbed his aching head, and there was already nothing beside him, only then remembered the bloody storm that happened last night. Li Xiao couldn't help touching his nose. This feeling was really good, but it's a bit top-heavy, and the body seems to be hollowed out. Obviously, this is not a dream. Lift the quilt. Underneath is the bed sheet. On the bed sheet, plum blossoms are dotted, proving that Lianxue is indeed a perfect body. Walking out of the room, Bingshuang and Linglong are playing chess and chatting, while Lianxue is Wenya watering the flowers and weeding. Niumeng hasn't gotten up yet, and the deafening snoring can be heard even downstairs. End of this chapter. Chapter 29 Going to Xiao Family. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Since becoming a disciple of Dengtian Pavilion, the little fairy doctor has also grown a lot. Apart from practicing all day long, she helps her sisters deal with the internal affairs of Dengtian Pavilion. I lived a happy life, not as cold-eyed as before, and sometimes I need to be abused by others. After seeing the pavilion master, the 4 of them put down their hands in unison, and bowed in unison. Pavilion master. N. Li Xiao responded, turned to look at the flushed Lianxue, coughed dryly, and said immediately, recently, everyone can take a good rest, and I will also go nearby to see if there are any better ones. Herbal medicine, which can also save costs. Linglong asked, Pavilion master, which of us will accompany you? As the protectors of Dengtian Pavilion, they not only need to protect the property of Dengtian Pavilion, but also protect the life of the pavilion master at all times. Li Xiao thought for a while and said, Linglong, come with me. It should be no problem to have Bingshuang and Lianxue in Dengtian Pavilion, and besides that stupid big man Niumeng, there is probably no one in the Jiama Empire who can treat us well. Shot. And I'm going to Wutan City to get something, which can make us a lot of money. As ordered. Linglong bowed respectfully, then snapped her fingers, and the amethyst-winged Lion King and a 5th-tier monster ran over. As the mount of the pavilion master, it needs to be always ready for the opportunity to leave the Warcraft Mountains. Bingshuang, Lianxue, apprentice, wait for me at home. Li Xiao sat on the back of the amethyst-winged Lion King. I will be back soon. The amethyst-winged Lion King rose slowly, and under the watchful eyes of several people, Ling Long and the pavilion master flew towards the distance at the same time. Several people handed each other off. The eastern part of the Warcraft Mountains can be said to be quite dangerous. High-level monsters can be seen stationed here everywhere. Now Li Xiao has left the range of Tiange Pavilion and is no longer protected, but with the amethyst-winged Lion King, a sixth-order monster, and Ling Long, who is the pinnacle of the Dou Zone, no one in the small Jiao Empire can get close to him. Not long after, the two of them and the two beasts had arrived at Wutan City, which was the birthplace of Xiao Yan, Yutan City, Xiao family. As one of the three major families in Wutan City, the Xiao family is holding the annual fighting spirit test. Day. Back then, the Xiao family had a place even in Zhongzhou mainland. Since Xiao Zhan's father died unexpectedly, the Xiao family has become more and more depressed. And eventually moved to the ghostly place of Wutan City to compete with the other two clans for the real estate market. Dou Qi, 7th stage, advanced level, that the elders of the Xiao family announced the result with satisfaction. The young man standing in front of the test monument clenched his fists, and the cheers around him made him laugh happily. Let him resolve the grievances of the Xiao family. When Li Xiao and the others arrived in Wutan City, it was already dark and the rain was pouring down. In order to prevent the people here from panicking, they specially asked two monsters to wait in the nearby forest, and they were not allowed to kill anyone without an order. As a time traveler, he still remembers the classic quotation that Xiao Yan said at the beginning, 30 years in Hedong and 30 years in Heshi, Mo bullied the young and poor. Drive. Drive. A carriage drove quickly in the rain, without any regard for the feelings of the people on the side of the road. When passing by Li Xiao's side, the splashed water turned into water vapor beside him, and finally dissipated. Li Xiao watched all this indifferently, and Ling Long almost killed this person directly. Inside the Xiao family hall, the powerhouses of the Oba family gathered together one after another, and the head of Oba's face was even more ferocious. Looking at the aura emanating from his body, it was Tuoshe, who was in the same realm as their patriarch. However, after Nailan Yanran's words, everyone's faces were ugly, because they came to snatch the Jiaoye family's market. Since the fall of Galabai, the Xiao family has taken this opportunity to take all of their family's workshops and cities as their own. As the patriarch of the Oba family, how can they let it go? Xiao Zhan clenched his fists tightly. You should know that I can still use my hands now. Don't make things so unpleasant. Great fighter Obapa looked disdainful, but in order not to stir up trouble, he still said in harmony, so, our Oba family is willing to take out 3 Qi gathering powder as compensation. Hearing the words Jukazan, all the elders of the Xiao family stared at the elixir in the box when they saw the baby. Since the annexation of the Jiaoye family's Fengshe, disasters have occurred frequently. If it can be sold, it is not impossible. Xiao Zhan frowned and said, you actually invited a pharmacist? This has nothing to do with you, you just need to sign here, and these Qi gathering powders are yours. Obapa directly took out a receipt and slapped it on the table vigorously. Xiao Zhan, I've already given you a lot of face. And the middle-aged man beside Obapa stared at the few people in front of him indifferently. You Xiao family did a good thing, killing my disciple and humiliating myself. How brave you are. After all, the middle-aged man stomped heavily on the ground with his right foot, and a strong sense of oppression enveloped the entire room instantly. The boy who had been in the 7th stage of fighting spirit before knelt on the ground in fright, without the slightest temperament from before. My student is Lu Shi, who made healing medicine for the Jiaoye family back then. Xiao Yan killed my student. Let you be buried with my disciple today. Obapa looked at this 4th-grade pharmacist with some embarrassment. He had already made it very clear that as long as there is a market, no one can kill people. Besides, there is the Canaan Academy behind Xiao Yan. If he just killed people like this, it will offend Canaan College. However, this 4th-grade pharmacist doesn't give any face. It is only natural to kill people and pay for their lives. That if you kill him, don't you get all the fengshe? Xiao Zhan's breathing became short of breath. It turned out to be a strong fighter. That the sky was covered with dark clouds, thunder and lightning, and the rain hitting the ground seemed to be the temptation of the god of death. which made everyone cast horrified eyes in the sky. "It's over, dying, dying." Xiao Zhan said loudly, "Two elders, take the clansman and leave here first, I will stop him." "Just because you are a big fighter?" Lu Shi's teacher said with disdain on his face. "It's a mere fluorescent light that dares to compete with the bright moon, it's simply life and death." Suddenly, clear and crisp footsteps sounded, and everyone in the hall turned their heads to look in the direction behind them at the same time. I saw Linglong holding an oil paper umbrella with one hand, following behind the pavilion master, walking into the room step by step. Teacher Lu Shi frowned slightly, looking at the man wearing the ghost mask. He couldn't help showing a bit of solemnity, he couldn't feel the breath of the two of them. "Your Excellency is also a member of the Xiao family." End of this chapter. Chapter 30 Obtaining the Tuoshe Ancient Emperor Jade. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Li Xiao didn't speak, but sat straight on a chair that could be regarded as intact, with Erlang's legs crossed. Teacher Lu Shi's mouth twitched, and a sharp look flashed in his eyes. "Who is your Excellency, and why are you interfering in our affairs? Presumptuous, what status are you, and you are worthy of my Lord Master to talk to you?" Linglong yelled, and Lu Shi's teacher flew out, smashed through several walls before stopping, and spurted out a mouthful of blood. This scene stunned everyone. Everyone's expressions were strange. What kind of realm can they have such terrifying power, and just a word can blow the strong fighting spirit away? Xiao Zhan, the head of the Xiao family, hurriedly took a step forward, cupped his hands and bowed. "I don't know that the senior came to the Xiao family, and the junior is not far away. I hope the senior will forgive me." Li Xiao glanced at Xiao Zhan in front of him, and knew that he wanted to use his own hands to solve Obapa and the others. "You don't need to thank Patriarch Xiao, I came here today to make a deal with you." "A deal?" Xiao Zhan asked puzzled. "I don't know what kind of deal the senior wants to make with the junior." "I heard that there is a piece of jade handed down by the ancestors of the Xiao family. Every head of the Xiao family will keep it properly so that it can be passed down." As soon as these words came out, the expressions of Xiao Zhan and the elders changed. "I didn't expect this guy to rush to the jade pendant left by the ancestor." Xiao Zhan said solemnly, "Senior, I don't understand what you mean, my Xiao family has never had such a thing." "Oh." Li Xiao raised her eyebrows. "Since the other party is unwilling to give it, then there is nothing to do here. After Xiao Zhan is dead, just touch the corpse." He said directly, "In that case, I'm being rude, you guys go on, I'll take a break and leave." Obapa was relieved when he heard that Li Xiao no longer interfered in this matter. His eyes were full of anger. He originally thought that he would only get back the Jiaoya family's market and not to kill, but now he has offended Xiao Zhan. "If you don't kill him, there will be endless troubles." In an instant, the two collided with each other instantly, and the energy generated caused all the buildings in the hall to collapse, except where Li Xiao was. At the same time, Lu Shi's teacher struggled to climb out of the ruins. The previous blow did not cause substantial damage to him, otherwise this fourth-grade pharmacist might have died. He also heard what was said just now. Since this senior no longer manages the Xiao family, let him finish all this with his own hands. With the joining of the Douling experts, not long after, the Xiao family had suffered casualties. Not only that, Xiao Zhan was also beaten to the point of bleeding, and his meridians were broken. The elders of the Xiao family lay down on the ground, and loudly said unwillingly, "Patriarch, give him the things. If the Xiao family is destroyed, what's the use of keeping those things?" Xiao Zhan's hair was disheveled, and blood continued to flow from his mouth. After hearing the words of the second elder, he became even more furious, and immediately shouted angrily, "Shut up. This is the painstaking effort of the patriarchs of all generations. To lower others, my Xiao family will never recover." Lu Shi's teacher laughed, "It's ridiculous that you still want to turn over. Everyone is dead, why turn over? I will kill everyone in the Xiao family in front of you, and avenge my apprentice's blood hatred." After finishing speaking, his palm slammed fiercely on the head of a disciple of the Xiao family. After a scream, the disciple instantly turned into a cloud of blood mist and disappeared here. "No." The eyes of the two elders were bleeding, and they said loudly, "Senior, we will give you. Li Xiao waved her hands after hearing this, and Ling Long behind her understood. With a slight movement of her fingers, the fourth-grade pharmacist who wanted to continue killing people was actually frozen in place, and the same was true for the others. Obapa even lay on the ground, crackling sounds came from his bones. "Senior, what are you doing?" Obapa asked loudly. "We can also give it to you." Noisy. The beautiful eyes moved slightly, and a strong sense of oppression swept over again. This time, Obapa's head burst in response to the sound, and there was no sound on the spot. Such a bloody scene caused everyone to look horrified. Who the hell is this, and why is he so strong? Li Xiao took a sip of hot tea and said, "Patriarch Xiao Zhan, you can take it out now. Of course, don't worry, as long as you hand over that piece of jade, not only will I not harm the Xiao family, but I will also give you corresponding rewards to serve as a warning to others." Xiao Zhan looked at the devastation in the main hall of the Xiao family and the flesh and blood of his disciples, with endless pain on his face, but he didn't dare to blame Li Xiao for anything, because he knew in his heart that if Li Xiao didn't come to ask for this Tuoshe Guyu, the Xiao family might really be wiped out. Not reconciled, Xiao Zhan took out a box from the Neji, and what was placed in the box was the Tuoshe ancient jade handed down from generation to generation by their Xiao clan. The Tuoshe ancient jade exudes a strange light, and under the moonlight, those strange lines on the surface seem to be breathing, sometimes brightening and sometimes fading. Li Xiao's eyes lit up. This is the key to open the ancient emperor's cave. It is said that when the 8 pieces of ancient jade are gathered together, the phantom of the ancient emperor Tuoshe will be transformed, and the location of the cave is in the eyes of the phantom. Find the location of the ancient emperor's cave, and you can use the ancient jade to open the cave, which contains the treasure that can advance to duty. However, the other fragments have always been in the hands of several major families. It is obviously unrealistic to snatch them. They simply auction them off if they have the opportunity in the future. Li Xiao nodded with satisfaction. Ling Long understood, moved her fingers slightly, and everyone on the field except the Xiao family died. With such a terrifying power, Xiao Zhan couldn't help swallowing. Who are these 2 people? They are so frightened. Here are some healing medicines and fighting skills. They will be used as a reward for each other's jade pieces. If there is anything in the future, you can also come to Tiange Pavilion in the Warcraft Mountains to find me. Mountain of Warcraft? Ascend to Heaven Pavilion? Xiao Zhan looked at Li Xiao puzzled. He had never heard of people building lofts in the Mountain of Warcraft. Ling Long said softly, "My master is the master of Tiange Pavilion." Tiange Pavilion is also a building with tens of thousands of years of history, and the auctioned items are extremely rare treasures in the world. Heard the words, Xiao Zhan admired the 2 people in front of him even more. He didn't expect them to open up a new world in the dangerous place of Warcraft Mountains. It was simply shocking. Looking at the backs of the 2 people leaving, Xiao Zhan subconsciously poured his mental power into the ring, and when he saw what was inside, his face was full of surprise. The 2 elders also came over, and also used their mental power to investigate, and the healing medicines in it were all above grade 3. End of this chapter.